Hello, and welcome here, or welcome back. If you'll have seen my previous videos, then you saw me riding a Honda Ruckus. But just a couple of weeks ago, I took the New Brunswick Beginner's Motorcycle License course and passed that. And now I got myself a 2016 Suzuki TU250X. So you're going to be seeing a lot of this thing going forward. There's a few things that really drew me towards the TU250X. I really liked the look of them right from the start when I saw them, and Suzuki makes a very similar bike called the Van, which I also really love the look of. Another bike I was really interested in was the Honda XR150L, which is their super entry-level dual sport bike, and I absolutely love the look of the Honda Trail 125. And here's the glowing recommendation that Ryan from Fort 9 gave the TU250X in their review video of entry-level bikes.
Maybe you don't care about going fast or off-road. You just want an motorcycle.
And I did just want an motorcycle. As much as those other three each have their own good things going for them, the TU250X was a really good all-around package that I could just get started and go out and start really enjoying a lot of stuff out here in New Brunswick. First and foremost about the TU250X is that it has a 250cc displacement, which is the very top end of the motorcycles that I was looking at. And going into that 250cc displacement, this motorcycle is fuel injected and has electric start. Although not very special by motorcycle standards, this bike is of course chain driven, which compared to the economy vehicles such as the Honda Navi, which is belt driven, I really like the idea of having a chain-driven bike with an actual clutch and an actual 5-speed transmission in it, whereas the Trail 125 has an automatic clutch, so it's just a gear selector. And I don't know, I didn't like the idea of that. I wanted something that I could really feel. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot else special going on about this motorcycle. Aside from that, it looks great. You don't really get to get a whole lot of overall view of it in this video, but this thing's covered in chrome, and it's real chrome. It's not the little plastic stuff that they put over top of aluminum. This is real chrome, and it's made in Japan, so that's awesome. But for those of you out there who are also looking for rather economical but decent motorcycles, I just want to say a little bit about why I chose this bike over the XR125L, the Honda Trail 125, and the Suzuki Van. I really loved the idea of doing a Honda Trail 125, which tops off around 90 kilometers an hour, because that's most of what I'm going to do, is 90 kilometers an hour. And the Trail, it's got a good amount of off-road capability to it. I think it looks great, and the YouTube channel Some Guy Rides, he really gets a kick out of his. But the real problem with the Trail 125 is they are so flippin' expensive. If they were half the price, I would go get one hands down in a heartbeat, but these things cost almost 8,000 Canadian dollars rolling out the door, and that's just not okay for a 125cc motorbike. The other bike I was really strongly looking at getting was the Honda XR150L, because you can just buy these things on a showroom floor and get going. They're about 4,500 Canadian dollars before tax, fees, and all that kind of stuff, so they're going to come out to around $6,000 rolling out the door. Seems like a nice build. The thing I really don't like about this one is that it's carbureted, and it's really hard to find a carbureted bike these days. They're antique, let's face it. Everything else is fuel injected now, and the bike I ended up getting is fuel injected. I don't want to play around with the choke when I go to cold start it, and I don't want to worry about anything. I don't want to worry about carburetors. Sorry, no. And the final other bike that I was super interested in was the Suzuki Van 200. And I really like the Van. It's got the wide tires, it can do off-road, it can do on-road pretty well. It doesn't have the super tall seat height like a lot of dual sports do. And I did my motorcycle course riding a Suzuki Van, and I really enjoyed it. And I totally would have got one if one was available sooner than a TU250X. They were pretty interchangeable to me. The one thing that really held me back though the Suzuki Van was that it's got those weird tires, and I didn't really look into what kind of tires are out there for sourcing, But those things are kind of funky and unique. And what I've learned from bicycles is that funky and unique leaves you stranded when it breaks. So I don't want to deal with that. Hey, check this out. This is my first merge onto a highway on a motorcycle, and it felt great. I'd previously hit 110 kilometers an hour out on a country road, but that was with absolutely nobody around, and of course, nothing to really pressure me to do anything. But this was a real live action getting onto a highway, and it was awesome. And here's something else that I'll probably change my mind on a little bit later, is that people will say that 250 cc's isn't a whole lot, which I get it, it isn't. You know, Goldwing makes their 2000 cc or whatever it is, but this thing hits 125, no problem at all. You know, this is my second day of riding it at all. This is the first real ride I've ever done, so perhaps 250 cc's is underpowered. But hey, you know, it's not weak. But whether it's weak or not, or whether it goes faster or it doesn't, or whether I'm a bad rider or a good rider, who knows? But the point for right now, the great big thing in the current moment, is that I get to go a lot farther, a lot faster, and get to see a lot more things here in New Brunswick, as well as abroad. So here's 2 covered bridges that I went to today that I wouldn't have gone to on Ruckus, because although they're not that far away from my house, they are far enough that it would have been kind of a pain in the butt to do it on the Ruckus. And there's a lot of covered bridges left in New Brunswick, and they're all way too far away that the Ruckus wouldn't have been able to do them in a day trip anyway. So this thing's awesome. You know what else is awesome? You're awesome, because you made it 7.5 minutes into this 8-minute long video just to check out what the heck I was doing with this motorcycle. So thank you so much for checking this out. I really appreciate it. I really enjoy making this stuff, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Let me know if there's something here in New Brunswick that you want to see, and I'll go there. Thank you. Or at least I'll go there if I don't get lost along the way.